That was weird.
On the lights process. On the lights process.
Mr. Barney, Matt Barney, Council.
Look forward to being sunset. Jason and I are looking at install dates now. Jason and I are looking at install dates now.
What is this? 4C. What is this? That's live.
Hey, Tom. Hey, Tom.
Freaking sick as a dog. Freaking sick as a dog. Hospital. You want a shit list? You want a shit list? I was like,
It's live. It's live. Yep, there it is. Yep. Good to go. Good to go. We're on.
We're on?
Yep.
Okay, I am going to call to order this Town of Griswold Board of Selectmen regular meeting on June 9th, 2026 at 6 p.m. Number one, call to order, roll call. To my right, Wayne Malin, Selectman. To my left, Matt Danielek, Selectman. And to his left, Lisa Wood, Executive Secretary. Number two, Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, moving on to item number three, approval of meeting minutes. We have May 26th, 2026 regular meeting minutes, May 27th, 2026 special meeting minutes, and May 27th, 2026 special meeting minutes. Any discussion, comment?
I'll make a motion that we approve the May 26th, May 27th special, or May 26th regular meeting minutes and the May 27th special meeting minutes, both of those, to accept them.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion to accept and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Number four, correspondence. We have the monthly report on activity from the Jewett City Fire Department. Any discussion on that?
As always, thank you, our fire departments, for
Thank you.
crushing it.
And then B, monthly report on activity from Griswold Volunteer Fire Department. Any discussion? Okay, we thank you. And then 4C, support letter for rapid evaluation, stabilization, and treatment called REST Center as requested by Miranda Mahoney on behalf of Pride. If you had a chance to read it.
Yes, I did.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay, if not, we'll move on to number five, old business. Discussion and possible action on letter from the Public Health and Safety Committee regarding a Community Emergency Response Team CERT program. Okay.
First, I want to apologize to Amato for missing the meeting last month. I felt awful, so I apologize.
You're here now. You're here now.
So, I will give this to you. We have that.
Okay, thank you.
So we were originally going to present this as a petition, and we already started getting some signatures from residents in town. But we thought maybe a fresh face, representing the opportunity for Griswold to allow us to host this training. It was presented before, but we wanted to make sure that the training would provide the citizens with practical emergency preparedness skills that can help them assist themselves, their families, and their neighbors during emergencies until professional responders arrive. And we get updates often from the Jewett City Fire Department on how the closing of the two departments down in Atlantic and Taffville, how that has affected mutual aid. And it's really put a stress on many towns. So even more so, the stress is to engage the community for further education, to respond in the event of an emergency, whether it be fire safety, a light search and rescue, disaster medical operation, team organization, disaster preparedness and response. The skills also will allow for critical response in the event of severe storms, flooding, winter emergencies, power outages, transportation incidents, large-scale and regional disasters. I know for myself, there was a motorcycle accident right in front of my house, and I manned the traffic, not really knowing what to do until Wayne got there. And it would have been helpful to have some basic form of skills because there was a medical need for that poor individual. I didn't feel comfortable enough to approach the scene. And in hindsight, I wish I had some type of informal training to at least, until professionals get there, it would have been nice to.
Can I ask a question
Sure.
on what you just told, that story? Is a CERT team member authorized to be able to be the first one on the scene and
That I
handle
don't.
that? Yeah, I mean, that would be my question.
Right, that I don't
Law
know.
would probably cover that. I mean, if you have some type of training, the Good Samaritan law is going to protect you. Like if you're a CPR first aid trained and somebody goes down in front of you, you're gonna do CPR, and even if you break their ribs, if they come back, they can't sue you because you're trained for it, so,
But you do have to have some kind of training
yeah,
to support that.
yeah. You can't just go up and.
Right. Okay,
throw a
I'm
tourniquet on
sorry.
Or something.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Dawn, go ahead.
No, that's a good question though. So my experience down in Asheville, North Carolina, where I volunteered, Dr. Martin also supported one of the trucks that went down there, and to see firsthand what the flooding did, it very much looked like the town of Jewett City, and for that, it really resonated with me because you could just picture what these rivers could do to a town very similar. What was very impressive was how that community, it seemed like they were doing this like as a profession. They had grocery stores set up, they had clothing, they had their churches, like it just was so well organized, and I was pleasantly surprised to know that a lot of them were volunteers from church ministries that have had some formal training. I don't know if it's this, but the Good Samaritan group was there. The churches played a big part in that. And again, I thought of our churches here in town. We certainly have enough of them. It would just be a good community, a community response to just have some basic knowledge on what to do. And I think we're starting to get further and further away from educating citizens to respond. So there is, Rich is qualified to do the course, and FEMA also would send representatives with him to do the training, depending on the response we get from the community. My hope is to get the schools involved, the high school students, the churches, and really promote it as much as we can from the Public Health and Safety Committee. Yeah, so we would just like you to reconsider it. I know before you had questions about the insurance portion of it.
Yeah.
It's my understanding that it should fall under the town's insurance, but we did have a private citizen offer to do a one-day event insurance, if that's the reason why the Board of Selectmen decides they don't feel it would fit in the insurance program.
It also falls under Title 28 of Connecticut statutes to, for people that are properly trained in this program and they sign up for it, they go through the program and there's certain steps they have to go through. And once they're qualified, then if they do go into action, once the event occurs, then they're already covered. So there's no liability to the town for that.
Okay. And I do know there are surrounding towns that have already taken this course. So it just.
There aren't as many as there used to be, and I don't know why that is. The only thing that I would say is I did talk to Sue Boland at the Red Cross about this, several days ago. And it's my understanding that she does the training, because there's like 30 hours of training for the volunteers. It's something like 30 hours of training, to become CERT qualified. So that's a big, I mean, certainly there are people who are going to do it and are happy to do it, but she indicated that it had to be she through the Red Cross that does the CERT training. And after that, somebody oversees it, but and Rich may be qualified, but that would have to come from Sue.
Right. And I will find out more on that. It's my understanding that this is more of a informational, hands-on, that you're not getting certified. I think that qualification is different. It's my understanding that this is more just engaging the citizens. You don't get a certificate.
He gave an orientation training and told them what was expected, to see if they were still interested and sign up for it. And then they would go into a more detailed training scenario.
Correct, if you wanted to be certified in the other areas. So this year is just citizen engagement, basic knowledge, and I will double check with Rich and someone at FEMA, but I don't believe you walk out with a certification. It's not that type of class.
So would it still be called CERT? Can it still be called CERT if it's just community engagement?
It is,
Okay.
yeah.
I have a couple of thoughts. I have way more questions than probably what we'll get into tonight in general. I think this is probably a bigger discussion. But my first thing is, I went through the whole FEMA site on this, and I didn't go as far as to do the self class that they have available with the independent study. But it does seem, are there any long-term incurred costs from this to the municipality as this program grows? Because there's no startup costs. But it does seem, even in their own guide, they do clarify that technically there is no direct coverage against liability, right? Like you only have basic liability through whatever we pay for, right? But you as an individual, for example, what you're talking about today with the motorcyclist in front of your home, I personally, I think that that's awesome that you were able to engage and help, but what if you had been the first person on the scene and you decided to administer CPR or something like that, right? And then you're not a first responder. Do I think as a citizen, as a person, that's a great action to take? Yes. However, does it also open you up individually to liability? It does, right? And I think the CERT program seems to be very specific about being about disaster mitigation and not necessarily like first response to an accident or something like that.
That's where the Good Samaritan law comes in.
For sure.
Yeah, because I've seen a motorcycle accident in front of me, using a ride,
Yeah.
and I put a towel on the guy's head.
I would do the same thing.
Yeah.
I just in the grand scheme of this being something that we're doing as a town through our emergency management department, we have to think about that fact.
Now, the citizen engagement and not official CERT certification, I don't think that the town's insurance, there would be town insurance coverage for that. Even under the Good Samaritan, we can check on that, certainly. But I think.
I'm not really sure why you guys are so concerned with the town's insurance when it would be an individual's liability problem. And the Good Samaritan law, as long as you are trained and you are doing what is within your scope practice, you will not face any backlash.
Well,
Somebody can absolutely try to sue you, but you know what a judge is gonna do? Throw the case out, because.
But you have to understand, that's what we are charged to do, is to serve the town. And these are questions that we have to have definite answers to.
And the definite answer is the Good Samaritan law covers them.
We need to verify that.
And it was Sue from Red Cross.
I'm sorry?
Was it Sue from Red Cross?
No, it would be town's attorney. And Kelly, who handles town's insurance, she would check with the insurance company. Yeah, I just think to be on the safe side, we would need to confirm that. I'm not saying it's not a good idea. I'm just saying there has to be discussion about it.
Yeah, I think it's important to clarify that we're going to ask all the really challenging questions and what ifs and worst case scenarios, even though on the surface, as you know, Don, because we already talked about this, I think the idea is great. And I think that having the ability to have integrated emergency response if there were a disaster with people who know what to do, who can communicate with the command center and have been trained in what appropriately to do and how to do it is a huge benefit. It seems like that's the case with all the case studies. But we have to make sure that we cover every base of this from cost, liability, practicality perspective, all those different things. So
right now, we don't have anything that covers anybody that helps any event.
correct.
So right now, anybody that gets involved in an event, no training or any of this is liable. So,
Well,
I think going forward, this is a positive for the town.
well,
Before-
I do not disagree. I think it is a positive thing. But we have to make sure that we've covered all of these questions. And we can check on that, we'll research that, absolutely.
Could we have a member from the Board of Selectmen contact the many, I can get the list, because it's online, the many other towns that have already done it? I mean.
But are they doing official cert, are they officially certified, or are they community involvement?
It's this particular program.
So I believe
that is
East
right.
Lyme in this region is the home, I'll talk to Rich. East Lyme took this region as the home base for the CERT team. So, you know, so I could talk to Rich, we could talk to the region director, and get more information. You can talk to Tom Turner and then get more information.
I do know he was working. So
Oh,
otherwise.
yeah, I asked him about training.
Yeah, thank you.
Rich Canova, Dean Electric, so two things. We have a CERT team, you know, a CERT team can get called to another town who is disaster that's happening there. So where does your liability come? Is it our town, is it their town, is it covered under the Good Samaritan law?
That's another question. That's a good question.
The other thing too is, I remember several months back, there was an article in the North Bulletin with a picture. It was around midnight. There was a tractor trailer coming down Route 12. It got entangled up in some high voltage lines that held up lines, telephone poles, utility poles, right? A guy going to the prison for third shift in Brooklyn came upon it, and because of him, he kept the guy in the truck until Eversource got there and stayed away from the power lines, so nobody died. Nobody can get that gradient voltage on the ground, only because he was a CERT member. So if the guy didn't know what he was doing.
Absolutely, but I think there's a distinction between an official CERT member and so.
I'm not sure that I think it really, I don't know that an actual certification that comes with this. I think it is truly just training. That's all it is. I think that's everything.
It's training, but you have to go through the 30 hours of training. Here's my, I'm sorry, Jim, you had your hand up.
Yes, I've been at most of these meetings, and if I recall correctly, there was a meeting here where Sue Bowl, is it?
Yes.
Was here, and the state person that's kind of in charge of all that was here. And my memory is not as great as it was, but I distinctly recall them saying that if you're in the CERT program, that is what, the liability is covered.
Yes.
And I think it further said you had to have permission from an authority here, probably in the town, to actually start doing anything. I see Wayne shaking his head, is that basically correct, Wayne?
Yeah,
Basically
they
correct.
start the commands, they activate,
Gotcha.
take control of the situation.
Don.
I wrote that down, I did write that down.
I realized that I never asked you. I realized the startup, like we said, but obviously there's administrative aspects to managing CERT and keeping up with the trainer stuff and making sure that you have, tabs and proper contacts updated information to everybody. Based on what you guys know of it at this point, does it seem like there is any long-term incurred costs to the town, or is this purely and only?
This is a one-time, it's my understanding it's a one-time, it's a grant that's provided, that paid, there's no cost, I just text Rich just to get an answer on something.
It is covered by FEMA. And that's what Sue told me the other day. But again, I go back to that question. It's two different types of teams that you're describing. Is FEMA only gonna cover the CERT trained or the CERT certified? And I think we need to find that out.
Martin, you guys have it.
Yes, Martin.
Martin McKinney at 8 on Lane. I generally think it's good, but listening to I think you're getting multiple agencies mixed up, because there's no way a CERT team can respond to, in my opinion, to a fire call, you know, for first aid, stuff like that. The CERT tank team, at least when I was looked at it, was more for natural disasters, more for issues of, you know, trained.
Search and rescue.
Yes, light search and rescue. Very light search and rescue. But it's not as a second responder to the fire department. You know, I'm starting to hear, you know, on ambulance, you know, responding to calls. I think you gotta get a fine line of where you guys think you're gonna go with this, because I just think you're spreading it way too wide.
Well, I'll tell you my experience with the fire department, and Todd was in it, and Tom. The CERT team is basically a support group of people that offset the resources for the fire. But they're not gonna jump into a fire, but what they can do is provide a resource that can supply a rest area, supply food, drink, that kind of thing, for a long-term event, that type of thing. You know, like a large flooding or something like that.
That's a great question.
And support the shelter and stuff like that. And they can offset those resources. That's basically what they do.
Like in Asheville, there was not one FEMA camp and no Red Cross.
Yeah.
And I don't know why that is. It was strictly the community engagement of, it was amazing to witness. As an insurance agent, it was very concerning because I purposely went to all the places I thought there would be a shelter. So Rich just responded and he said, it's strictly basic training. There is no certification and it is 6 classes.
And they only function if called upon by emergency management and put into action. That's what we're saying. Yeah, so I think probably this warrants more discussion, content. You know, we have to check with town's attorney, of course, and see what the opinion is there, right? Before we can even kind of continue the discussion. Because that's kind of the main thing, is for them to tell us if that is something that we can do. Is there a way for us to safely do it? Is there a way for us to set it up for those volunteers where, you know, they have the understanding that here's the criteria, here's, you know, what you can expect. And
When is your next meeting?
Next Monday.
Okay, I won't be here. How often, you meet once a month?
I mean, we would call a special meeting to.
Yeah, I mean, if because I'm gonna be, unavailable in the next week, but, I mean, and I don't know how the two of you feel about it, but let's do a little bit of research on it.
yeah,
And then we'll be happy to come to a special meeting. It would be helpful if it were more toward the end of June, like the week of the 22nd or even the 29th or the 30th. And then we can continue the conversation based on what we find from town's attorney. And
Talk to Rich about getting somebody from the East Line home base to come up and talk to us about it.
right, and find out, you know, what this team could or could not do.
yeah. And do we think it's worth reaching out to FEMA directly as well? Because I could do that if Wayne and Rich are gonna reach out to the East Line to get somebody who's actively doing this opinion.
I think the region, like whoever comes from East Line's gonna have a lot of those answers.
Well, that's what I too, yeah. Yeah, so if we can at least get that information to make a more informed decision, I think.
You should invite Mr. Sigrinelli from Lisbon. He is our region coordinator.
I think that's a good idea.
Josh is our region coordinator?
Yep, Josh is, yeah.
Text him right now.
No, don't text him now.
I'm kidding.
Yes, Jim.
The example that I think that would have a lot of bearing on it is when we had the major flooding here about, what, 15 years ago, is it now? 2010?
2010,
2010.
yeah.
That seemed to be a situation that is made for what we're really talking about.
Mhm.
Because we, from my understanding, and Laura could verify it, we damn near lost the treatment plant. And if we had lost the treatment plant down there, we would have hundreds, if not thousands, of residents that had no place to go because they would not be able to stay in their homes because they could not dispose of that waste material.
Yeah.
That would have been an unmitigated disaster.
The other thing that I would say too, volunteerism, I encourage it. You hope that it's always a great success, but volunteers are volunteers. And when we started this discussion, and I think Dana started it, we were meeting up at the senior center on Saturday mornings. And it started to go, the whole certification thing. And for some reason, it fell apart, and I think it had to do with a lack of volunteers within the community for a long-term commitment. And then it started with volunteers that were coming from other towns. And it went away, and it never came to be. So, you want to have a strong volunteer base too. Yes, Rich?
Wayne, 2 years ago at the event over in Veterans Park where we had sign-up sheets, how many people did we get to sign up over there?
I
Like
think
50,
like
60
16 people, I think we had 16.
Yeah,
That's good.
and they were, most of them from out of town.
Do we think, given the members of the fire department in the room, do we think that there's a possibility that as this grows, it turns into maybe a little bit of some funneling of recruitment to the fire departments as well? Could that be a possible benefit? If you get more people involved and they're like, oh, I kind of like doing this stuff, and then work their way towards something more? Do you see a way where this impacts that at all? Because if you're actively recruiting people for this as well, in addition to just like putting it out there, right?
It's a good idea.
Is that a way to streamline maybe some people who are really involved and connecting to like, hey, we should maybe do this too? I don't know, that was a thought that I had.
We started this as a petition, and we have, I think collectively, is it fair to say about 60 between all of us?
Probably close to 20.
So
There's interest.
Yeah.
So
Well,
let's,
there's interest in creating it, Dave.
not in
There's
serving.
necessarily interest in being part of it.
Yeah,
Okay, all right.
that is the struggle.
That's gotta be a critical part of it.
I think,
We can start it, but, we gotta,
can you,
somebody's gotta step up the volunteer.
so in a second, I'll motion to table this, but can you, as part of your process, reach out to those people that were in support of and talk to your people and maybe get an interest list? Can you get us some rough numbers of people who indicate that they would be interested in receiving this training as well as for our next discussion about this? Is that possible?
Sure.
Yeah.
That would be
So I
helpful.
think it'd be good to know if it's 3 people, or if it's 20, because I think that makes a big difference. But I'll motion to table this discussion until our next regular meeting.
Okay, and do you, as a group, want to come up with a date, say toward the end of June, for a special meeting? And we'll try.
We'll add that to new business to our agenda on Monday.
Oh, yeah, good idea.
We'll do that.
Okay.
Come up with a date
Yeah.
and we'll communicate to you guys where we want to have a talk. And try to invite some of the other people that Tom mentioned and get Rich to get somebody up there.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
You would do it at our regular meeting next week.
No, we're just gonna come up with a date that we can all meet
Okay.
for a special meeting, just to discuss this topic.
Okay. Are we good on that?
So we made a motion, and I'll second the motion that Matt made.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, moving on to new business, discussion and possible action on 7 tax refunds for a total of $9,738.61 as presented by Leona Sharkey, tax collector.
I'll make a motion to accept the tax refund for a total of $9,730.61 as presented by the owner trustee of the tax collector.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 6B, discussion and possible action on social media issues. I have nothing.
I have nothing
Nada.
this time around.
Okay. 6C, discussion on update regarding existing blight issues. And Wayne, you've kind of jumped in on this, so I'm gonna pass it over to you.
So we've had a lot of discussion on this between Tina, Todd, myself, and Jennifer, who's the blight officer. I drove around with her last Monday, looked at a lot of properties. I believe we have 16 properties of concern. So we talked about a plan. We're gonna be more aggressive, going after a lot of these longstanding issues. And I reviewed our ordinance for blight. So several notice of violations have gone out. There's going to be more. And she did mention that Preston has a flow chart about how we go through the process. And you get so much time that you go through notice violations, then you go talk to the attorney, then you go talk to the judge sets the fines, and then you start getting fined possibly $50 a day till it's resolved. So it's time that we start getting some of this stuff moving forward. So we're gonna be a little bit more serious about taking care of the blight issues, helping Jennifer get through that. So,
And then, I mean, there may be situations where, after numerous letters issued and warnings, that we would be allowed to send Public Works in to clear the area. And I'm not looking at you, I'm sorry.
Would we be billing in addition to the fines for that?
How does that work? We bill,
So if we ordered to go in under ordinance or health code, then we do the cleanup, we bill for the manpower, the equipment at the federal FEMA rate and the disposal.
Okay.
It's 100% reimbursed as a lien.
Mhm.
So it's only gonna be collected typically when the property sells or is.
sells, yeah.
Do we provide them an estimate of that cost before we physically go in and do it, so that they can be like, oh no, I really need to take care of this before they come and do that?
We do try to send them 2 bills 30 days apart.
Mhm.
So we give them 60 days to try to pay
Yeah.
before we put those in.
They are told in a letter, though, that is sent out,
Mhm.
you know, this is what's gonna happen if
Yeah.
by this date, the problem is not resolved.
some of these issues, Matt, have been going on for a couple of years.
Yeah, I figured based on just the brief snippets that we've discussed that part of it, that was the case.
Yeah, and I just don't think
Maybe
there's
we can
been
do.
any, follow-through on repercussions, and I think that, you know, Wayne, you're right, there has to be, so.
Yeah, and also we gotta work with Laura and Jennifer also on the borough side, because they have some issues also, so. I looked at a lot of those last week too.
Okay. No further discussion? All right, 6D, discussion and possible action on request by Rubino's Full Circle to close a section of Oakville Road for an annual event. Todd, I'll let you talk about that in a minute. This is a letter that was sent out to Mr. Rubino. I did communicate this to them. These are the items that they need to have in place before that day. And then I think, Todd, you go in, I don't know.
We provide the barricades just so we're sure that they meet the standards.
Yep.
So we will drop them off on the Friday before the event, pick them up the Monday after the event. We've done this for at least 2 years, probably 2 years.
Yep.
It's a short section of Oakville Road, between 138 and 1, so it's not really a good impact. They do provide insurance liability, which.
Yeah, they did provide, that's their certificate of insurance. Right.
So we just want to make sure they comply with the list that we provided.
I needed that. Any questions?
No.
No?
I would motion to approve that request.
I'll make a second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, moving on. Number 7, any of the business that may properly come before the board. And I would like, if somebody could make a motion, I have an item to add onto the agenda.
I'll make a motion to add your item onto the agenda to the item.
And you need to say what it is.
Okay, I would like to add onto the agenda, Martin McKinney to, go over a GWPCA issue.
Okay, I'll make a motion to add the letter from Martin McKinney regarding a GWPCA issue onto the agenda.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Martin?
Hello, everybody. The WPCA has been meeting lately, trying to get, this, new city sewer line, issues resolved. Right now, we don't have a budget, so we're requesting actually 2 things today, a small line item for some legal fees. We'd like to reopen our operating agreement with Jewett City, not Jewett City Town, Jewett City Water Portion Control or sewage treatment plant. Because our feeling is by the time fees is very substantial out on that corridor. Heritage River, for example, was $1.4 million. Okay, they were offering, trying to give them a somewhat of a discount at the time. Obviously, we know it hasn't been built. But there's new housing regulations. There's going to be some potential of a housing project out there, 150 units. That's going to be $1 million. So what we'd like to do is open up a negotiation with for the town to do 1 of 2 things. Number 1 is retain a certain portion of that for long-term maintenance and stuff, so we don't have to, so we can be fiscally responsible. So if there is an issue, if there is a problem, the money's already set aside and ready to go. Now, this isn't tax dollars, by the way. This is all paid for by developers. This is not,
Yes.
not a tax dollar issue. So we're not moving tax dollars from here to there. And so I don't really think it's pertinent that I should talk about what we're proposing to, well, some of you were there at the meeting, but what we're proposing to the borough, they're supposed to get back to us. I'm not the borough, what is it, WPC?
Yeah.
Jewett City Water.
Yes.
Which is, I'm sorry. The other thing I'd like to propose is when Tia gets back, is an executive session with the Board of Finance and the Board of Selectmen to go over some of this, okay? And I think it's very important. I think it's the right thing to do. We spent $6 million out there. If we recoup some of it and do some long-term maintenance stuff, I think it's a win for the town, and I think it's a responsible thing to do. So I guess what I'm asking for today is some type of line item budget for some legal fee, for some talking to attorneys. And then after, as you see fit, when everybody gets back from vacation, a meeting with the Board of Finance and executive session with yourselves.
Okay, so if we were to set up an executive session with the Board of Finance, could that request for establishing a line item happen at that meeting?
Whatever, well, I have talked to Scott, and he just said I should bring him here first, and then you guys will talk to him.
Okay, all right.
You know, there is mechanisms he has some ideas on mechanisms.
Okay.
Some of this stuff.
Well, I would make a motion that the Board of Selectmen request the Board of Finance to establish a line item
Right.
for whatever may be coming up for the future meetings and discussions.
Okay.
All right? Okay. And then Lisa will, when I get back, we'll work to set up an executive session with the Board of Finance, and I'll talk to Scott.
Thank you.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any other business?
Yeah, I got a couple of announcements. So this weekend, we do have carnival happening. This Friday, Saturday, and Thursday starts, right? Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We do have a reason to ride on Sunday, which is gonna impact Main Street. It's gonna be shut down according to the fire chief from approximately noon to 1 p.m. So that'll be blocked off. as they go through. And just wanted to put that out so people were aware. That's gonna be an impact on Sunday. In the one.
So we, new one shut down Main Street?
Yeah, you might wanna put that on the website.
Yeah, we definitely want to put that.
I'll put that out too.
Okay. And then, just another, do you have another? I'm sorry.
That's it.
Okay, general announcement for the America 250, July 3rd, which is a Friday evening from 6 to 9 in Veterans Park. We're going to make it informal, but a community event just to start the year of celebration for America 250. So I think we have approval to have a fire. So there will be a fire. We are going to have a s'more station. We'll probably have some, I'm going to arrange to have some music there. And it's basically just the community coming in, hanging out, getting ready to, we didn't want to do it on July 4th because everybody has family events and picnics and parties.
No, it's July 4th. Are we celebrating on Monday or Friday? But that may be a day off for everybody though, Friday. So, because I think it's on Saturday, right? Is it
Holidays on
Saturday?
Yeah.
So everybody's off Friday.
Yeah, so we're going to do it on the 3rd. All right, so spread the word. We're going to get information and flyers out there. So this was kind of a last minute. There was nothing scheduled with America 250 committee for that time frame, and I thought, we have to do something, so. All right, that's all I have. Matt?
I got nothing.
Okay. Number 8, public forum. Yes.
Lori Sorter, 67 Ashland Street. I have just one question, and that is regarding the blight. My understanding was in order for blight to be considered, that there had to be a signed complaint form. So how will you handle that? Or that's something that we have to consider?
That's, Jennifer's taking care of she's got the complaints, she works with Mario through all that.
Right, but
So,
I guess my question to you, okay, is that, you took a ride around with Jennifer and saw all the blight concerns. If there is a residence that is considered blight, but you don't have a formal complaint from a neighbor or anybody, how will that be handled?
she doesn't typically act on anything until she gets a complaint.
But didn't we determine that the complaint can actually come
Yes.
from
Yes.
Yeah,
us?
good.
So I guess my concern is if it's going to be a huge amount, is that going to be an issue?
So,
That's something that we can consider. I just want to kind of bring it out there.
I know what you're saying, and I asked her, so we saw some properties, and I asked her, what do you consider blight? So I could understand what she's looking at,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And so,
yeah.
so I saw some properties, and she says, no, I wouldn't. Not unless you got a complaint from the neighbor that should do something about it, but
right.
a lot of it had to do with, abandoned vehicles properties. And possible issues with a lot of garbage in the yard, things that are like health hazards.
Yeah.
Hazards with, creating critters coming in the properties and stuff like that.
Yeah, we know that.
Yeah.
We know that.
So,
And thank you. And the other thing is, I was also under the impression that for the reason to ride, I think I heard that it's gonna be Main Street and
Slater, yes.
Yeah, so that should be probably included too. It's gonna,
Yeah.
Main Street.
Main Street up to Slater.
Are we gonna get I'd love to know exactly where on both of those, so I can make sure that we have as much accurate information as possible on that.
It comes down Route 12.
Yeah,
No, I know.
they begin in Plainfield. They start in Plainfield,
Yeah.
and they do have a schedule. So,
I have to take a look at that.
We're expecting them here approximately noon.
Cheryl knows.
I'm on the treasurer,
Oh,
of
okay.
Reason Right, so I can get you the schedule.
That would be wonderful, thank you.
Perfect.
That way we
It's
can make
already,
sure.
it's online.
Yeah, because no matter how many places we put it out, there's still gonna be people that are shocked by it on Sunday, like, it doesn't
Oh,
happen
yes.
every single
They
year.
wait for it at this time of year.
No, they go
They
around.
always flag,
They cut around him and
Yeah, it's always Flag Day, so they know. Neighborhood 169 always has the people standing out there with their
Those
huge
people
flag.
live down here.
And
Yeah.
they're lined up on the streets.
Wait, on that play thing, are there any of those that are people that are just not capable of taking care of it? Is that a situation that we run into with that stuff at all?
There is one on one particular street here in the borough where, he indicates because he's handicapped, he's not able, he needs help.
Okay, but if we were to maybe find some volunteer help, he would be open to, I was just curious how many of those would be something that we could maybe try and actively take.
Well, I
care
know
of.
Jennifer is working with him on that, so I
Okay.
think if,
I was just curious, because I had never
yeah,
really considered it, so.
yes.
My issue is what Matt just brought up. James Barney, 735 Oakville Road in Bridgeville, Connecticut, 06377. There's an old saying that one man's junk is another man's treasure. We have to be very careful about how we decide that. It sounds like the lady you're working with has a good handle on that. But the other thing is what Matt alluded to. Rather than building these people and put something on and maybe finger hurtful on them, let's see if we can figure out a way that we can get some volunteers to go in and help somebody clean up their property so that they don't have that. And if the situation becomes absolutely the worst where we have to go in, let's just lien their property for the future so that we're not impacting their daily life by fining them. And I mean, you can still fine them, but not causing them to have to take money from medical or food or other things.
Absolutely.
Okay, so
But I
that's-
mean, we have one situation where there are abandoned mobile homes with roofs collapsed in, and it's situations like that,
Well, the problem didn't happen overnight.
right.
No.
People knew about it, and the worst is,
And they-
unfortunately, you put a mechanics lien on the property and it gets paid at closing.
Okay, we need to
Sorry.
stick to one person.
All right.
Very good, thank you.
All right.
But I mean, in the case of the trailers or whatever with collapsed roof, probably the cost of cleaning that up can be managed by just somebody coming in and hauling them away. They'll probably take it to scrap, for whatever that would be worth.
Yeah, I think that's more likely a case of the resident not being willing to, because there are definitely resources out there that'll just come and take your junk cars.
Yeah.
And even give you money for them. So I have to imagine that in that situation, it's probably somebody who's unwilling to take advantage of that. But that's why I was curious if there were any, that were a lack of means rather than a lack of will.
So eventually the process drives you to put a lien on the property if they can't pay the bill.
Eventually what?
The process, typically the end game is they put a lien on the property if they can't pay the bill. That's where it
Yeah, and then you
makes
can
up.
get the money when the people no longer are alive and you sell the
Yep.
property, yeah.
Cheryl, I'm sorry, you had your hand up and then you spoke about the reason to ride. Was there something else?
No, that was it.
Okay, all right,
I'm sending them a
okay.
thing right now to send you the.
Thank you.
Any other public forum? Yes,
Way
sir.
back here.
Yes.
Gave you 59 Way Avenue. 2 items. Todd, Mr. Barney, and myself spent a lot of time working on the blight ordinance. And put a lot of effort into it, tried to get all the bugs worked out. We did come up with a form for a complaint. And Lori brought this up a couple of years ago where the form has to be signed and didn't want people retaliating. Well, I think something needs to be said to people involved, because I have seen letters go out where Mr. X complained about, right in the subject line of the letter.
Okay,
And I don't think that's appropriate.
agree.
The complainant should be on file for filing the complaint in case somebody wants to ask a question or get more detail. But people in an office shouldn't be addressing that letter saying this person did it.
It should be a generalization, as, you know,
Yes.
we've received a complaint.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That's a great point, Dave.
Yeah.
Also, I've noticed a little car parked along certain streets that says assessor's vehicle. And I observed it 3 different times in 3 different locations. The person never got out of the car, took a picture in the car of the front of the house, which is typical on all our property records. There's a frontal picture, that's it. But I would think if you're assessing the property value, you should be getting out of the car and walking around to see what's behind the house. And I don't know if it's the town assessment that's doing this, or the boroughs. If it's the boroughs, it's none of my business. But if it's the town, I'm concerned about, we might be missing some tax dollars.
I can check with the assessor's office to see, because I think it's Vision. Vision is the agency, the company that's going around doing this, but I can find out, because it was, at least I understood that there would be a more thorough, especially with this particular round, that it would be a little more detailed
In past
assessment.
years, I've had assessors knock on my door.
Yeah.
And want to look at my house.
Yeah.
And let me know they're gonna walk around my backyard.
I think that there were certain areas that they were going to do that, and then other areas that they weren't. But I'll find out.
Well, there are programs out there that get satellite snapshots of properties also.
Every satellite snapshot I've tried to look up on Griswold is not very detailed.
I don't know, they got my backyard looking pretty up to date. So,
I am curious, given the volume of business that Vision Government Solutions has taken on in recent years, if perhaps they are relying more on permits and things that are profiled with the town and simply getting that update that way and relying on that more so than knocking on doors and walking around houses. I'd be curious if that's like their standard procedure, because you're right, I don't think I've ever seen them get out of the car.
And typically, I know a lot of people, even in my neighborhood, that don't bother with permits because they don't want to spend the money. They just direct the shed, add on to their garage, make modifications, and hope they don't get caught 20 years down the road.
Well, I kind of brought this up, you know, how can we lock that down a little bit more? You know, with a part-time building inspector, I know he has additional hours, but there's a lot. And if somebody's, these types of things really should be reported. They should be called in.
People don't want to report it because then it goes on the subject line.
No.
Mr. X reported you.
There you go. That's a good, yeah, honestly, that is a great point and a simple thing to fix.
Retaliation.
Yeah.
Yes.
Rich Canova, Lane. So years ago, I don't know how many cycles it would skip, but every so often they were required to go in the house and walk through the house. I haven't seen that in many years, but I have.
That, I think, was part of the plan this year. I could be wrong, but that was what I had heard.
It's a 5-year thing, but then it's every 10 years they go in the house. They have to be inside.
Yeah.
Make sure you don't have gold bathtubs, all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Well, I wonder, do they rely on any of the public information from when homes are sold to do that too, possibly? I don't know.
so I don't think you really need to do anything if you change the square footage of your house.
Yeah.
That's when you actually have to get a permit, or if you add an outside building or something like that.
Right, because when I
So if you put a gold bathtub in your bathroom and you haven't changed the square footage of your
I took my
house.
small bedroom and made it part of the big bedroom. I came in and asked that question, and they said, did you change the square footage? I said, no, it's a 2-bedroom house now. Doesn't matter, it's still the same square footage.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. I, just circling back, realized that I also can't find the blight form on the website anywhere. So maybe we should figure out how to get that done.
Well, I will tell you, I'm gonna probably end up, once I get this flow chart from Preston, about how, we're gonna assess, the process of site notifications, that kind of stuff, all the way up to judge's ruling and a lien on the property, all that. We can regenerate the form and run that through another town meeting, we'll get an ordinance change.
Yeah, absolutely. Just set up a Google form, make it super simple, so it goes to all the appropriate parties when it comes in.
Any other public forum? You had your hand up.
Yes, I think.
Who are you?
I don't think this was a false year for Michigan.
I'm not sure.
I don't think it was a full, appraisal. I don't think so.
Reevaluation.
Right, no, so I don't
This
think
is
they're
the 5 year.
going into every house. The only time they would go in is if they pulled a permit was completed. Assessor would go in, they would probably go in. Going on what Dave just talked about with permits and people not pulling permits. I think I mentioned this before. I don't know if there's a way that within the town structure, we can make a listing of current permits that are out there. Because a lot of times, even on the weekend, I go somewhere, and they're doing a roof, and I'm thinking to myself, they pull a permit, they're doing it on the weekend. You know, it'd be easy to want, what do you think more drive around or we can see stuff going on. It's a way of recouping revenue that we may lose.
We need more oversight, absolutely.
Carl is part-time, but there is a penalty if they do a lot of permit too, so I think it's a couple $100. And that's,
We're just changing, we just changed it.
you know, it's something that I think you could.
Thank you, Lori.
I guess you say, if you see something, say something.
Dave, you 59 William. I know when Todd brought that up before, I also pointed out that having lived all across the country and halfway around the world, every place I've lived where you've had to pull a permit, that permit had to be posted in a conspicuous spot in front of your house that could be seen from the road. So people knew you had a permit pulled, and in big letters, like red letters behind it, it said work permit. And then all the fine line items over the front of it.
Do we require that?
Years ago.
Yeah, I used to hang, when I had some permits, I put it on the front window.
You still do it because I just had to get a permit for my gazebo and I got a printed permit. I didn't hang it in the window, but you know.
But do we require that it be
It's automatically
posted?
given, so I'm guessing it's required that.
Well, some of the issue now is all the stuff's online, so I pull permits all day long, so most of the stuff is online.
Yeah.
And they don't really even send, you just get a proof you pay, you don't even really get the big permits anymore. Because most of these municipalities, yourself included, they don't even, you can't even talk to the building official.
Well, I got a permit, it's this big.
Yeah.
It's a full-size piece of paper.
That was
There's a permit with the permit number on it, all that stuff.
Well, that's a good question.
So if somebody asks, you pull it, and say, this is not the permit online.
Yeah.
For clarification, Vision Government Solutions process is that the field review and value correlation to the market data that they can pull involves a visual view from the street as opposed to a physical inspection of the property.
Okay.
So that is their norm.
Mr. Barney?
Having over.
Can't hear you. We have motorcycles going by.
You gotta project, Jim. You gotta project.
All right, James W. Martin, 735 Old Hill Road in Griswold. I'll forget the zip code at the moment.
8675309.
And I have gone to the town halls, not just here, in other towns, looking for building permits, in particular to find out when a roof was last done, and damned if I can usually find one.
So they get done on weekends.
No.
There has to be better oversight. All right. Any other public forum? Okay, hearing none.
Motion to adjourn. I'll make a second on that.
We have a motion to adjourn and a second to adjourn at 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everybody.
Holy cow.
I'm back. I'm back. I just have to do like 2 that stuff.
I thought this was gonna be a 35 minute.